Thank you very much. My name is Monica Glinsler. I am the Director for International Relations of the Department of Human Settlements in South Africa, and it is my great honor to introduce to you the panel, the esteemed panel that is seated here to my left. We have the Minister of Human Settlements of South Africa, Ms. Mamaloko Kubai. We have the Executive Director of UN Habitat, Maimuna Mohammed Sharif. We have the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development of the Government of Uganda. We have the Minister of Works and Housing of the Government of Ghana, and we have the Minister of Urbanism and Housing of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and we have the Deputy Minister from Malawi. You are all welcome, and I will now hand over the proceedings to you, Minister and Executive Director, to lead us in the opening segment for today, and I welcome you to make your remarks. There are microphones to your left if you would like, or would you like to speak from here? Okay, you're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Monique. Good morning. Let me first acknowledge the ED UN Habitat Director, my sister Maimuna Mohammed Sharif, who spent a couple of days together. It has been such a pleasure to host you, but also appreciate the honor on behalf of South Africa and her people, for you having taken this mission to our country. Let me acknowledge the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development in Uganda, Honorable Obika Kania. Acknowledge the Minister of Works and Housing in Ghana, Honorable Francis Asenso Boake. Acknowledge the Minister of Urbanization and Housing of DRC, Honorable Mbayu Maibule. I hope I pronounce it correctly. Acknowledge the Deputy Minister of Malawi, Honorable Diaz Kumba. Acknowledge the MECs in South Africa who are my colleagues who work together in this effort. MEC Maile, MEC Tukwana, MEC Lusiti, and MEC Mika. Acknowledge the Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Dada Morero. Mayors who are present here. I didn't see others. I think they're still coming to join. So the Deputy Mayor of eThekwini as well has joined us. Members of parliaments led in the Republic of South Africa, led by both Chairperson of the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces, and Honorable Semenya and Honorable Dodovu. Councillors who are here with us, members of mineral committees, especially for human settlements, panel of experts, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you. I am honored to welcome you to South Africa and to the launch of the Global Action Plan Framework on Informal Settlements and Slums in this historic conference on behalf of our government and her people. I do welcome even those who have joined us online, as this is an hybrid model, and I might not have acknowledged the ministers who have joined us online. Our government and the people of South Africa are very pleased that together as countries of the world, we have gathered to take a bold step towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular Target 11.1 of the SDGs. This launch will give impetus to a political engagement process towards a joint global action plan framework for transforming informal settlements and slums globally. The Global Action Plan Framework initiative is anchored in the Slums and Informal Settlements Network, launched during the Habitat 3 in Quito as part of the Global Participatory Slum and Upgrading Program, initiated by the Organizations of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States, financed by the European Commission and implemented by UN Habitat. The intention of the Global Action Plan Framework is to take coordination, collaboration, commitments, and partnership to the next level. It consolidates and amplifies efforts for accelerating the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals and the new urban agenda in the decade of action. It provides a joint vision to inform actions framed by partnerships. It provides a joint vision to inform action framed by partnerships and is the basis of member states to elevate commitments in the form of resolution to be pledged in the UN Habitat Assembly process. For as long as we live in a world characterized by inequity, and exclusion, we should never tire in our efforts to relegate all this to the dustbin of history. Nowhere are these social and economic injustices more sharply expressed than in the slums and informal settlements. This means that the implementation of the SDGs and the new urban agenda is a necessary step towards the achievement of global development agenda. In our country, South Africa, the apartheid spatial development that our cities have been characterized by segregation of in our country, the apartheid spatial development of our cities, which was characterized by segregation, continues to weigh heavily on the development pattern of our country. The majority of South Africans who are now urbanizing at a rapid rate find themselves relegated to slums and informal settlements as they fail to find decent dwelling in our cities that are unwelcoming for the poor. The slums and informal settlements are a breeding ground for social ills, the burden which is often carried by women, girls, and children. These settlements often lack basic services such as sanitation facilities, health facilities, education, as well as recreational facilities. The UN Habitat 3 Pretoria Declaration on Informal Settlements Upgrading, signed in South Africa in 2016, recognizes that the informal settlements challenge must be tackled through an integrated approach to sustainable urban development, taking into account the national policy framework, legal, financial resources, and special issues. Our country has embraced these approaches. Thus, as a country, through an inclusive process, we have made tremendous progress in implementing this policy. An approach includes the following step, which I would like to share with you. We started by identifying and verifying informal settlements in the country, and currently we are saying that we've got almost around 2,600 informal settlements and counting. I say this every time because we have a problem of illegal occupation of land. This accommodates almost around 1.4 million households, according to Statistics South Africa. The second area was to complete a baseline assessment of informal settlements whereby we define variables for monitoring and evaluating these informal settlements. We have established provincial forums on upgrading of informal settlements in all our 9 provinces in the country. These forums facilitate alignments of upgrading processes within municipalities and monitor the implementation. And as well, it's part of exchange of knowledge by various stakeholders in each province. And also to entrench an understanding of informal settlement upgrading among practitioners and public representatives, we have developed a 13-module course called Introduction to Informal Settlements Upgrading that unpacks the critical processes required in undertaking an informal settlement upgrading. So we're documenting our process and our learning experiences. We are rolling out an incentive capacity development program to all our provinces, municipalities, civil organizations, and communities. And furthermore, we have undertaken activities to ensure that the modules are accredited and incorporated to our tertiary institution. We also have the majority of informal settlements that have access to services, and some of them we call them basic human rights services, that we say once we have identified this informal settlement, because some of them are self-started, and therefore we've got to make sure that basic services such as water and sanitation is provided. This, I must say and acknowledge that we still have a long way to go because they continue to grow each time and put a burden on the planning and also disrupt our processes of proper budgeting. We have established our community of practice to engage with our civil society and academia and share good practices and exchange knowledge and disseminate information. ED, when he was visiting our provinces, we got to share some of the work that are led by civil society in order to be able to work in a comprehensive manner, but incorporated and partnership between ourselves as government, civil society, and academia. As you are well aware, the time for us to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals is quickly running out. And I've shared this action with you to encourage knowledge sharing, to help us accelerate our pace of implementation. But for us to achieve our commitments, it is important for each and every country to share experiences in the implementation of these policies. Indeed, the time is running out of our place. We are going to have to meet our goals and the demands that we upscale in terms of our implementation, taking into consideration critical actions in terms of implementation of the SDGs and the new urban agenda, meaning that we have to ensure that we leave no one behind and targeting the most vulnerable first. We have to make sure, as ED consistently say to us, it has to be transformation from exclusion, inequality, and poverty to our desired destination. Enable diversity to prosper and empower our governments and all society to transform. Make it the decade of action go live for an inclusive development of cities. We in South Africa have learned that upgrading can have a profound positive effect on social cohesion, resilience, safety, especially when there are targeted interventions to protect the vulnerable, women, youth, children, the elderly, and disabled individuals. We acknowledge, however, that with the rapid rising urbanization, our government is still battling to keep pace with the demand, and we are more aware that we need to create more partnership to respond to the needs of the nearly 1.4 million households living in informal settlements across South Africa. It is a national priority to respond systematically to the increasing rate of urbanization. Thus, the upgrading of the 2,600 informal settlements is a central objective of our urban management strategy. For sustainability, the upgrading of slums and informal settlements will have to be coupled with the creation of economic opportunities for affected population. Speaking at the launch of the Cities Without Slums and Action Plan, at the inaugural meeting of the Cities Alliance in Berlin, Germany in 1999, former President Nelson Mandela said, I quote, "Poverty reduction and upgrading of informal settlements will not be possible unless cities are productive and efficient and capable of providing the poor with the economic opportunities to build their assets and income," unquote. The launch of the Global Action Plan framework on informal settlements and slums is a great milestone in the preparation for the development of the tabling of a Global Action Plan or at the United Nations Habitat Assembly in 2023. It is with this, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to South Africa and welcome those who are joining us online, but most importantly, welcome the EDN team. And I would like to say, as you are here in the country, make sure that you are able to experience the beauty of this country and the province of Gauteng. Take a short left and enjoy yourself. We've got quite a lot of areas that you can visit and excursions that you can take. We did make sure that the ET experienced this wonderful country, but we hope each and every delegate does not come into a conference room, go back to their hotels, and take a flight out without experiencing this beauty and the warmth of the people of South Africa as we host you. With those few words, I'd like to say welcome to South Africa and wish you a successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. I'd now like to invite the Executive Director of UN Habitat, Maimuna Mohammed Sharif, to make her statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Honorable ministers, mayors, colleagues, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you, and Dumelang. It is a great pleasure to be here in Pretoria, South Africa, launching the International Global Action Plan, accelerating the transformation of informal settlements and slums by 2030 with all of you in this beautiful conference hall. Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to the governments of South Africa for providing us this platform and for continuing to champion the call Cities for All through their commitment to positively transform informal settlements and slums. As you know, the new urban agenda provides 53 entry points to slum and informal settlements transformation. But we need leadership. We need investments to translate policy into positive actions on the ground with the positive impact to the livelihood of the people that we serve. Honorable Mamaloko Kubaye, Minister of Human Settlements, it is a great pleasure to jointly convene this important meeting with you, and I know that you are a woman of action. At our meeting at the World Urban Forum in Poland, Katowice, in June this year, you committed to hosting this Global Action Plan launch and have fulfilled this promise, and for which I am very grateful. This must be the first implementation of the declared action from Katowice that has been fulfilled. Thank you. I remember in 2020 in Abu Dhabi, I told my colleagues, no more declaration. We have enough resolution and declaration. The same word, but we need declared action. Same spelling, but declared action. So since that, 2020 in Abu Dhabi and 2022 in Katowice, we've put down the declared action of each of the member states who committed during the World Urban Forum, and we will monitor this and we will present it in 2024 in the World Urban Forum in Cairo soon. So ladies and gentlemen, according to the 2022 UN Habitat World Cities Report, despite the best effort to achieve zero slum by member states, there are more than 1 billion people living in slums and informal settlements today. This means that 1 out of every 4 persons are living in urban areas in slum-like conditions. People lack access to water, sanitation, decent housing, and are sharing a room with 3 or more people. If we take 10-year security as a benchmark, I dare say the figure will rise beyond 1 billion persons. If no transformative action is taken, it is estimated that by 2050, there will be 3 billion people living in slums, or roughly an increase of 183,000 people every day. At the recently concluded World Urban Forum, we all attempted to envision our cities of tomorrow. Unfortunately, we cannot avoid the sad reality that cities will be places for poverty, exclusion, inequality, and environmental degradation if it is not well-planned and well-managed cities. Honorable Ministers, distinguished delegates, you may have heard that there are 4 Cs: COVID-19, climate, conflict, and capital. The SDGs are further away than ever before. SDG target 11.1 on upgrading slums and affordable safe and adequate housing is one of the 9 targets that are regressing globally. This global action plan, accelerating the transformation of informal settlement and slum by 2030, aims at creating a new momentum for slum transformation at scale. We need to take transformative action to end the marginalization of people and places through spatial integration. We need serious commitments by member states to improve the standard of living for all. We must not only mind the gap, but create actions and approve budgets to ensure no one and no place is left behind. As a person from the global south, myself, who grew up in poverty, I can tell you that the basic human right to development is the fundamental basis to deliver on the human rights agenda. This includes the right to adequate housing and the right to adequate standard of living. I came from a poor family and I know what poverty is all about. UN Habitat has the tool to assist member states to achieve sustainable transformation. Our narrative guidelines promote: 1, spatial equality and justice; 2, social inclusion and integrated governance; 3, reduction of poverty and economic prosperity; and 4, environmental sustainability and protection. We know that the road to achieving a better urban future is diverse. We are not advocating any one model or pathway. Instead, we believe that different countries, different cities and communities need to find their own pathways. This is because driving transformation is about creating a new potential for development every day for everyone and everywhere. We know that sustainable and people-centered investment in slum and informal settlements can deliver multiple sustainable development goals and the new urban agenda. The transformation at scale cannot happen in isolation. It needs a vision that will bring partners on board. The structured partnership framework with long-term vision that is being proposed in this global action plan will help bring political will, resources, and communities behind the common vision of a better quality of life for all. The complexity and scale of the challenge requires strategic engagement, diverse expertise, and commitments of every stakeholder. I recommend to all gathered here to peruse the Global Action Plan, accelerating the transformation of informal settlement and slum by 2030 that fits very nicely with the motto of the World Cities Day 2022 and the World Habitat Day 2022, mind the gap, leaving no one and no place behind. The high-level meeting on the new urban agenda in New York in April this year restated that we need local action to scale up our positive impact. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank our partners, the Organization of African, Caribbean and the Pacific States and the European Commission. Together, we have implemented projects worth 24 million euros in 50 African, Caribbean and Pacific countries since 2008. This partnership has allowed us to keep countries engaged over a long period of time on the issues of urban inequalities, poverty, and exclusion. These efforts have led to the launch of the roadmap to the last mile of slum during the Dubai Expo, and finally to this Global Action Plan launch event today. I would like to further share my gratitude to our core partners of the Global Publication and the Global Action Plan, the World Bank, the European Commission, Cities Alliance, UNICEF, Habitat for Humanity, Slum Dwellers International, and Wairo Commission. Thank you for engaging with us regularly for co-producing a consolidated response to informal settlement and slums. Finally, and most importantly, I would like to thank all the government delegations and stakeholders from the government of South Africa and abroad for having responded to our call to support sustainable urbanization. You have committed taking important next steps to implement global policy commitments to positively transform life of the most vulnerable and marginalized in our cities. Ladies and gentlemen, please ensure to voice your action proposal for a better urban future during this important event. With every person in improved living standards today, we have 4 people less in slum condition tomorrow. UN Habitat will be with you. Together, we can transform the cities of the future from becoming places of exclusion, inequalities, and poverty. Let us ensure that we aspire to inspire before we expire. Thank you so much, Kaile Boha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Director. Honourable Obiga Kanya, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development of the Government of Uganda, I would like to invite you to make your statement of support, your short statement of support. You can speak from where you are seated, or if you're more comfortable, you're also welcome to come to the podium. But we don't want to make this very formal. Thank you so much.
Let me stretch myself here. Thank you. The Honorable Minister of the Republic of South African Government, the ED, UN Habitat, my colleague ministers, and honorable members of Parliament, and in such a very big, distinguished gathering, I'm sure, if I continue with that protocol, I'll miss and offend some people. I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, first, I want to thank you, Honorable Minister and the UN Habitat, for having invited us to this function of launching the Global Action Plan. We are very grateful for the hospitalities you have extended to us since our arrival yesterday. And I can assure you, Honorable Minister, that we shall take some time to enjoy the beautiful hospitality and scenery of the people and the country of South Africa. I bring you greetings from the people of Uganda, my President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and the government, and commitment of the people of Uganda and the government of Uganda to this action. We want to be part of it, as we have been part of it from the beginning. In Uganda, our perception of informal settlements and slums is that they are a result of urbanization, to which people look for opportunities for service and for a better life. And when we talk of urbanization here, we're not talking of the big cities only. We're talking of even those small trading centers, those small areas which will eventually grow into the urban, big urban cities we're talking about. That is our perception. And I believe you all now know why people go in those informal settlements and why the slums arise. It's no longer a question of a debate. Neither are those, in our view, slums necessarily bad. They also provide an opportunity for providing integrated services in those areas. So our approach in contributing to the fight on informal settlements and slums is twofold. There are those that exist. That is the first one. What do we do about them? Then there are those that have not yet existed, but if we do nothing, they will exist. If we do nothing, those areas where you don't see slums will see slums. And therefore, we in Uganda are trying to adopt strategies to first provide integrated services in those areas which are coming up. In a way, I would say self-contained services in those areas so that people are not drawn into what we call slums. People can find the opportunities. And we are going to the rural areas to strengthen those urban areas. And in order to do that, we have developed and we have passed in government a policy to declare the entire country as a planning area for service provision. What service should be provided where? Not only in the cities. An integrated service provision according to the planning framework under the National Physical Development Plan. Whether it is an agriculture, let the people have industries in those areas. Whether it is power, let them have in those areas. That way, we believe we should be able to make our country appealing to everybody. And whoever wants to go to what we call the cities will be doing so at a leisure, not necessarily to look for opportunities. Lastly, what action are we taking on the slums that exist? And here we also want to be grateful to the UN Habitat. We have, together with the UN Habitat and the ACP, developed a program, a pilot program of selecting 3 large urban areas. This is where these current slums exist. There are many, but we prefer to look at what we can do in those areas. And what we have done in the first phase is to profile those slum areas. What are the services they require from government, from the private sector, from the community themselves? We want to involve everybody in addressing those. How do we make them livable so that we don't leave anybody in the slums behind? We finished that profiling in 3 urban areas, 2 cities and 1 what we call a municipality. In Uganda, we have a characterization of what we call a municipality and a city according to the population and the area. Our next phase, we have now engaged the community together with the local governments in those areas, because we believe they must involve those people. The community must accept, and the local people, the local governments must be part and parcel of the implementation framework of whatever we want to do in those areas. Again, we've finished that framework. We're now in the last stage of the actual implementation of the services to upgrade those slums to make them livable. And from the indications we are making, our budget allocations, we're not only relying on what our good partners will do, but we are also diverting a sizable amount of our budget to those areas to make sure that we achieve what we are budgeting for. So we believe that if we are to achieve global action plan, every country, we're not saying Uganda, you must move the Ugandan style, but every country must have its style of addressing those for its own people. And then the global effort to support will add to the total result that we think can help our people globally who are in the slums and in the unplanned settlements. So this is the statement that I would like to make. It's an informal statement of what we're doing, and we believe we've come here to learn. We are prepared to learn more. When this action plan is launched, we'll move together with you under UN Habitat. We thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Minister. It is now my pleasure to invite the Honourable Francis Asenjo Boake, the Minister of Works and Housing from the Government of Ghana, to make his brief remarks. Welcome, Minister.
Your Excellency, Memuna Sharif, Minister Kubai, and other colleague ministers and deputy ministers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In my country, I will say, thank you. The Republic of Ghana is pleased to be part of this important international meeting being held in this beautiful city of Pretoria, South Africa, to launch a global action plan framework to transform informal settlements and slums. Like other member states of the United Nations, Ghana in 2016 agreed to the Quito Declaration on Sustainable Cities and Human Settlements for All, known as the New Urban Agenda, which has become a blueprint for our national planning and urban development. In April this year, I had the opportunity to renew Ghana's pledge to this cause during a high-level meeting at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Consequently, I joined a ministerial roundtable during the 2022 World Urban Forum in Katowice, Poland, where Ghana again committed to making an intentional and conscious effort towards the implementation of the New Urban Agenda to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. As a country, we have so far leveraged on global platform and shown great commitment to harnessing urbanization process towards the sustainable development of our respective countries. Ghana wishes to commend the government of South Africa and the UN Habitat for staging this very important international meeting aimed at taking coordination, collaboration, commitments, and partnership to the next level. Your Excellencies, as we are all aware, the main reason for slum upgrading is that people have a fundamental right to live with basic dignity and in decent conditions. Indeed, the role cities play as drivers for sustainable development can be a catalyst if we capture and disseminate systemic solutions. These can be better harnessed when there is collaboration between politics, research, business, and civil society in cities. Again, there is the urgent need for a coherent and integrated national urban and housing policies, which prioritizes the implementation of national development plans, policies, and results-oriented programs and projects for slums. The importance of this global action plan framework on informal settlements and slums, therefore, cannot be overemphasized, as it will consolidate and amplify our collective resolve to achieve the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and the New Urban Agenda. In developing this action plan, there is the need for member states to also put into context the challenges that their countries present in the implementation of the action plan. Thankfully, Ghana actively participated in the implementation of both Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the participatory slum upgrading program. The lessons learned and data collected have aided Ghana to develop a draft slum upgrading and prevention strategy. However, it has become eminent to update the data following the New Urban Agenda, as well as Ghana's recently published 2021 Population and Housing Census. Currently, there is a technical working group made up of actors from both national and local levels to update this strategy. Indeed, the development of this global action plan framework on informal settlements and slums could not have come at a better time, since it will help shape our strategy for effective implementation. In conclusion, Your Excellencies, Ghana is committed to this resolution, which seeks to shape commitments and endorsement in support of the Global Action Plan framework. Your Excellencies, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Minister. It is now my honor to welcome the Honorable Mbayu Mwabilu, Minister of Urbanism and Housing of the Government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, to make his statement of support. Welcome, Minister.
Bonjour tout le monde. Excusez-moi, je parle très difficilement l'anglais, alors que toute ma famille, mon épouse et mes enfants, parlent parfaitement l'anglais, qui est leur deuxième langue. Et ma famille a vécu dans ce pays, tous mes enfants ont étudié dans ce magnifique pays. Et ils sont tous aujourd'hui des grands responsables en République démocratique du Congo. Madame Koubaï, Madame la directrice de l'ONU Habitat, mes très chers collègues ministres, honorables députés, distingués invités, en vos titres et qualités respectifs, je vous salue encore une fois et je ne peux garder ma joie et l'exprimer, sinon l'exprimer vis-à-vis du gouvernement sud-africain à travers ma collègue qui a daigné nous inviter pour que nous puissions participer à ce forum. Un forum pareil, on y vient pour écouter et pour apprendre, parce qu'on apprend jusqu'à la fin de sa vie. Le drame pour nous qui assumons les responsabilités publiques, c'est que la population nous dit toujours qu'elle n'a pas besoin de discours, elle a besoin de faits, elle a besoin de réalisations. Comment y parvenir? comment parvenir à satisfaire nos populations à travers ces réalisations. Je crois que c'est pour ça que nous sommes ici. Nous sommes ici où nous avons un très bon accompagnement. Je vois la Banque mondiale qui nous accompagne beaucoup dans mon pays, l'ONU Habitat qui est à côté de nous jusqu'au jour d'aujourd'hui, qui le retrouve dans ces mots tous nos remerciements et les remerciements du président Tshisekedi et de notre gouvernement pour leur accompagnement. Comme mon collègue venait de le dire tout à l'heure, chaque pays dans ce cadre a ses réalités. Mais que faire? Parce que l'objectif ou les objectifs à atteindre sont pratiquement les mêmes. Offrir à nos populations des établissements humains abordables, habitables et permettre à nos populations d'accéder aux moyens, à l'argent, au crédit qui puissent leur permettre d'accéder justement, d'acheter justement ces établissements humains. C'est plusieurs questionnements transversaux que nous pouvons avoir à travers nous ici qui représentons nos populations. Pour ne pas faire un long discours, nous avons chez nous un cas et un exemple spécifique. Lorsque notre président a fait sa campagne électorale il y a 4 ans, il promet la construction de 250 000 établissements humains. Lorsque nous prenons ce ministère, nous nous approchons de notre gouvernement. Finalement, on se pose des questions. Est-ce que faut-il directement identifier les sites? Faut-il immédiatement, après l'identification, la désaffectation de ces sites, passer à la parcellisation de ces sites? Ça peut paraître facile. Le premier acte, c'est un acte réglementaire qui est posé par mon ministère et s'ensuit un acte administratif qui est posé par mon collègue des affaires foncières. Que faire? Est-ce qu'on démarre à travers les villes la construction de ces 250 000 habitants? Comment y parvenir? C'est une autre question, en dehors d'un plan national de l'habitat. Comment y parvenir? Deuxième question, si on ne met pas en place un cadre juridique respectable par notre population. On s'est dit, le gouvernement, le président de la République a dit, non, finalement, je crois que ce qui peut nous aider à y arriver, à ce plan national, c'est finalement démarrer les réformes. Parce que, entre parenthèses, les derniers établissements humains qu'on a construits dans notre pays datent depuis 70 ans. Et ces établissements humains ont eu comme fondement juridique un code, une loi sur l'urbanisme et la construction issue de la colonisation, qui datait depuis 1957. Donc, depuis 1957, le pays n'a plus connu de réforme sur ce plan-là. Et je vais dire encore entre parenthèses que lorsque le gouverneur général, représentant du roi des Belges, a publié ce code de l'urbanisme, la loi sur l'urbanisme et la construction, je vais vous donner un petit exemple. Kinshasa, notre capitale, avait été construit pour abriter uniquement 450 000 habitants. Aujourd'hui, Kinshasa est en train de cheminer lentement mais sûrement vers 20 millions d'habitants. Un deuxième petit exemple, pour ceux qui connaissent Lubumbashi, Lubumbashi, qui est le chef-lieu d'une des provinces minières de notre pays. Je ne parle ici que de quelques exemples de villes construites. Lubumbashi abrite plus de 4 millions d'habitants. C'est pour vous donner une idée. Je prends encore un petit exemple, la ville de Goma, où nous avons connu des éruptions volcaniques. Goma n'a pas été une ville viabilisée. Mais dans son dimensionnement, Goma y avait été prévu uniquement que cette ville soit habitée par 15 000 habitants. Goma est à plus de 2 millions d'habitants aujourd'hui. C'est pour vous donner une idée. Alors, que fallait-il faire? Démarrer le projet du président ou commencer par les réformes? Nous nous sommes dit qu'il faut commencer par les réformes. La première réforme, il fallait absolument rédiger le code de l'urbanisme et de la construction. Réviser le code de 1957. Nous avons approché la Banque mondiale, que je remercie au passage, avec des cabinets d'avocats de niveau vraiment international, avec nos experts dont l'un m'accompagne dans cette salle. Nous avons rédigé cette nouvelle loi sur l'urbanisme et la construction, qui est le fondement de tout. Nous avons terminé ce code. À ce stade, je remercie l'ONU Habitat pour son accompagnement. Nous sommes en train de travailler pour qu'avec l'ONU Habitat, que nous puissions faire valider ce code, cette loi, aux entités territoriales décentralisées. Comme vous connaissez, notre pays a une forte décentralisation, connaît une forte décentralisation de son administration. Donc, dans les prochains mois, avec le soutien de la Banque mondiale et de l'ONU Habitat, nous allons nous rapprocher, province par province, de la société civile. Nous allons nous rapprocher des autorités qui gèrent les entités administratives. Nous allons nous rapprocher de la population en général pour que nous ayons la même compréhension de ce code. Nous allons nous rapprocher des chefs coutumiers qui jouent un rôle capital dans la gestion de notre sol. Parce que chez nous, bien que la loi et la Constitution disent que le sol et le sous-sol appartiennent à l'État, il n'en demeure pas moins que les chefs coutumiers en soient les gardiens. Donc, nous allons nous rapprocher, j'espère bien dans maximum un mois et demi, de nos provinces pour pouvoir faire valider cette loi qui est une loi extrêmement importante. Et lorsqu'elle reviendra à Kinshasa, ces délégués vont se rapprocher des institutions de l'État avec les experts des émanants des institutions. Nous allons alors boucler la boucle. La loi va rentrer au gouvernement dans la commission interinstitutionnelle. Je vais la présenter. Je vais la présenter à la commission des lois du gouvernement. Et enfin, in fine, je vais la présenter à l'Assemblée nationale pour son adoption. Dès que cette loi, nous espérons, est adoptée dans les 3 à 4 mois à venir, nous espérons que nous allons démarrer réellement les choses sérieuses dans le domaine de la construction des établissements humains. Mais en attendant, qu'est-ce que nous avons fait? Je voudrais vraiment partager ces petits exemples, cette petite expérience avec mes collègues. En attendant, nous avons mis en place des instruments de planification urbaine. Nous avons, avec l'aide toujours de la Banque mondiale, mis en œuvre des plans urbains de référence. Au fait, qu'est-ce que ça signifie? Ce sont des documents qui sont des schémas directeurs pour chaque province, pour les grandes villes de chaque province, et qui permettent à tous les investisseurs dans le domaine de l'immobilier, de l'habitat, des établissements, de la construction des établissements humains, de pouvoir identifier je vais dire ça, je vais donner une définition classique, identifier le sol où ils peuvent construire, le type de microclimat où ils doivent construire, le type de matériel qu'ils peuvent utiliser, la qualité des maisons qu'ils peuvent construire. Ces plans urbains de référence, nous les avons déjà réalisés dans 5 provinces. Nous avons choisi 2 provinces de l'Est, 2 provinces du centre et une province du sud. Nous avons dit que nous ne pouvons pas nous arrêter à ces plans urbains de référence. Nous avons demandé, moi-même, votre humble ministre qui suis ici, nous avons demandé aux gouverneurs des provinces de s'approprier ces plans urbains de référence dans le cadre de la décentralisation, pour que ces plans urbains de référence soient présentés aux assemblées provinciales, aux députés provinciaux. Une fois que ces députés provinciaux ont examiné ces plans urbains de référence, les PUR, eh bien, ces plans urbains deviendront des lois. Mais au niveau des provinces, on appelle des édits. Ça deviendra des lois opposables à tout le monde. Nous pensons que parmi les instruments de planification, c'est vraiment un élément, ces plans urbains vont vraiment accompagner utilement, in fine, le plan national de l'habitat. Nous ne nous sommes pas arrêtés là. Parmi ces instruments, je venais de terminer de faire examiner un projet important qui va nous aider à combattre l'anarchie dans la construction et dans l'occupation des sols. C'est le projet sur le guichet unique pour l'obtention du permis de construire. Pour obtenir le permis de construire chez nous, selon qu'on a 2 étages, 3 étages ou 5 étages, on devait aller en province pour obtenir le permis de construire ou on devait aller au niveau national pour obtenir. Maintenant, c'est fini. Nous aurons un portail où chaque citoyen, chaque Congolais qui veut construire, chaque investisseur qui veut construire, peut aller un seul portail pour obtenir ce document. Et ensuite, nous avons mis, je vais terminer, nous avons mis, c'est vrai, je parle un peu beaucoup, hein, je viens du monde médiatique et c'est un petit défaut qui m'accompagne dans l'opérationnalisation de mon ministère. Alors, nous avons mis aussi d'autres instruments. Construisait. L'Office national des logements et des instruments et des structures financières qui accompagnaient ces instruments. Donc, on a mis en place tout ça. Je vous remercie pour votre attention. Je remercie encore ma collègue Koubaï pour cette invitation. Nous avons été très très bien accueillis dans ce pays que j'aime beaucoup et j'espère que nous allons apprendre encore davantage et nous allons nous accompagner mutuellement. Merci.
Thank you very much, Minister. We will be hearing from each country that is represented here over the next 2 days. So tomorrow we will hear from Malawi, we will hear from Madagascar, we will hear from Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire, I'm going to forget some of you, I'm sure Lesotho, and also from the Mayor of Freetown. So you have seen the program, it is jam-packed. I think that it will be interesting for you all to see that many of the challenges that the ministers have described you will find on the site visits today as you travel to Johannesburg, and that is what we would like to do with you next. So we are going to shift the rest of the program, the presentation of the Global Action Plan and the messages from the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States as well as the European Commission to tomorrow so that we can catch up some time. The Global Action Plan has been placed into your conference bags, so you are welcome to take a look at it overnight. And we are hoping to have very fruitful conversations going forward tomorrow. For now, please exit this room towards the back. grab some refreshments, and then proceed immediately to the buses so that we can drive to Johannesburg. And then we will be visiting the two sites. One is the rugby club informal settlement, and the other one is the Vleuhof integrated settlement. So then we will go to Tukoza Park, which is a public park where we will launch the Centre of African Public Spaces, and then we will have end our day at the Apartheid Museum in Johannesburg, and then come back to South Africa, to Pretoria. Thank you.
They get into the buses, they're not driving in their cars.